right, let's jump right in. Today we're talking about Ethereum. And, it's in this really weird spot. It's one of the absolute cornerstones of crypto, right? But at the same time, it's stuck in this massive tug of war between some incredible innovation and some really, really heavy market pressure. So what gives? Is this thing an unstoppable revolution that's going to change everything? Or is it just another asset that's getting beaten down by the market? That's the big question. And we're going to unpack both sides of it. Okay, so first up, let's talk about all the good stuff, the bull case. Because seriously, if you can just ignore the day-to-day price swings for a minute, there is this huge wave of innovation happening behind the scenes, and it could literally change the game for the entire network. And check this out. This is a huge deal. We're talking about JP Morgan, one of the biggest names in traditional finance, launching its very first tokenized money market fund right on the public Ethereum blockchain. That's not just a small step. It's like building a superhighway for all that big institutional money to come pouring into the ecosystem. And it's not just the old school finance guys either. Look at a major crypto player like BitMine. They just made a huge purchase and are now holding $11 billion worth of Ethereum. You don't make a move like that if you're just thinking about next week. No way. That is a massive long-term bet on Ethereum's future. So you gotta ask, right? What's driving all this confidence? Well, it's a few key things. First, you've got the big money from traditional finance finally plugging in, like we saw with that money fund. Second, they're actually trying to fix one of the biggest complaints, those crazy high fees, by testing out free transactions. That would be a game changer for getting new people on board. And third, they're looking ahead, integrating with AI to build the next generation of really smart, advanced apps. Okay, so that all sounds pretty great, right? But for all that amazing innovation, there's a pretty big storm cloud hanging over the market. There's this bearish downward pressure building up, and you just can't ignore it. And to really get what's going on, we need to talk about something called realized and unrealized losses. It sounds complicated, but it's pretty simple. It just means that a ton of investors are in a tough spot. They're either selling their Ethereum for less than they bought it for, or they're holding on, hoping the price comes back up. Either way, it puts a huge damper on the market. And you can really see the problem right here. That big gap between what people paid on average and what it's worth now, that's basically a giant wall of people just waiting to sell as soon as they can break even. And when you have that, it's incredibly hard to build any kind of real upward momentum. And on top of all that, Ethereum isn't the only game in town. It's got some really fierce competition from other blockchains like Solana that are nipping at its heels. Those high gas fees are still a major headache for a lot of people. And let's be real, the struggle to scale the technology to handle everyone who wants to use it, that's a battle that never, ever ends. So you've got these two totally opposite forces slamming into each other. Let's just lay it all out side by side so we can get a super clear picture of the state of Ethereum today. And here it is, plain and simple. On one side, you've got these huge positive signals, big money moving in, real tech breakthroughs happening. But on the other side, you have these challenging signals, a market full of people who are underwater on their investment, plus all that competition and technical hurdles. It really is the perfect definition of a tug of war. Which of course leads to the biggest question of all, what happens next? Where does Ethereum go from here? Because it really feels like we're heading into a make or break moment where this tension has to snap one way or the other. Yeah, a lot of analysts are actually pointing to a specific time frame. They're saying the next couple of years, 2025 and 2026, are going to be decisive. That's when we'll probably find out if all this amazing innovation being built under the surface is strong enough to finally push through the weight of the market. The clock is definitely ticking. And that really leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? Will Ethereum's incredible breakthrough technology be enough to overcome all this market chaos? I mean, the future of a huge chunk of decentralized finance might just depend on the answer. We'll have to wait and see.